when you look at y'all's numbers on defense, it's been great all year, but around the rim, the numbers are extremely higher and better at home and in the way than away. Is there some method to that madness on why those skew just top 100th percentile?
Well, I think we want to protect the rim relative to the core of what we do defensively. We've made stark improvements over the last month in that regard. We're doing a better job in our ball screen coverage. I think that has helped. Not just the two guys involved in the ball screen, but also the three guys behind it in regards to trying to solve the ball screen and the coverage, but then making sure that our rotation behind it is what we want it to be. I think coach has done a really good job of teaching that. And we've probably spent a little bit more time than you would think in January on that. I don't necessarily know, Travis, what justification we would have for being better at protecting the rim at home versus home on the road. All good offenses want to get the low man out or get the guy off the nail out, and we try to prevent that as best we can. But because of how we play, I think it changes the catalog of plays that most teams run, but the premise is still the same. Can we get the guy away from the rim? Can we get the guy off the nail? So I don't know what the reasoning would be, other than it needs to be better.
What do you think you guys did well against Auburn last time, and maybe just how do you think you could replicate some of that success against them tomorrow?
Well, I think when we played them, I guess tomorrow would be 13 days ago. They're doing some different things than they did when we played them the last time. They did some unique things to try to attack our defense. Zero's playing a lot more. 4 has been even more effective than he was since then. I think 4's had 11 offensive rebounds in the last 3 games. I think he scored 60 points. Zero is playing the way Zero played this time last year. So they're a little faster in transition than they were, playing off a little bit more ball screens than they have. So we were fortunate. I think our guys did a really good job. I think Andy was key in that game. I think Dre did a lot of really good things. Obviously, Boots was superlative. But all of those things we needed in order to have a chance to win at their place. It's as good of an environment as there is in the country. I think that's why I think when we played them, they had the longest home winning streak in the country. I think they had won 28 in a row, and I think they had been ranked 31 weeks in a row. And then they were still ranked the next week, which was last week, I guess, right?
Correct.
So that's 32 weeks in a row that they've been ranked. So really, really, really talented team that causes a lot of problems defensively by how hard they play, how they dig on the ball, very disruptive. And then they're really good at the rim. They're number 1 in the league in the SEC at attacking the rim.
Henry Coleman's had a consistent stretch of offense lately.
Yeah.
I know Julius mentioned that y'all had kind of shown them some film and shown him some things that sometimes he could attack more. What have you seen that turnaround in him? What's been?
Well, it's just the rim shots. Yeah, it was from the Arkansas game. I think we shot 39% at the rim. Henry had 10 misses. And so we showed them clips. Jew's shots at the rim, Henry shots at the rim. They score kind of in the same general area, in my opinion, their method to scoring is a little different. But in regards to what we need from them in the production category, it's the same. I thought Henry, in many respects, I know he didn't play, neither of those guys played the minutes that they typically played, but I thought that they were much better against Georgia in that category. I mean, Henry was, I think we had 24 offensive rebounds at Arkansas, and Henry was, I mean, maybe as good as he's ever been in that regard. And he was probably the worst he had ever been in finishing at the rim. We need those guys to produce at the rim in regards to the low man defensively. Jew is improving and getting traffic rebounds. Henry is a very good traffic rebounder. Jew's really comfortable with the ball in his hand, really comfortable over either shoulder. Henry is going to turn over his shoulder, obviously, but he plays more with his eyes immediately to the rim, and so that's a different type of finish. And we've been really committed to that in our skill work in the mornings. We do a little special deal one day before. Today, after we finish film, we do only pad work. So I think they're improving. But I thought that Henry's finishes against Georgia were a great trend relative to what he had been at Arkansas, because we need that from both of those guys.
When y'all went to Auburn, did you see anything as you looked at what they do that made y'all put into the game plan, hey, we're going to really try to take advantage of what Tyrese can do driving the basketball? Or is that something that's the way the game unfolded, it just made sense to do?
Well, I would say that Coach Pearl's son is watching this, so to answer the question respectfully, yes, sir.
You talked a little bit about how Auburn's changed over the past couple of weeks. How's your team grown?
Yeah, good question. The one thing that I would say about our group that has been so refreshing to me is they're very receptive to what we do, and I think they have a very good understanding of why we do it. And I think that they have comprehended from game to game, to Olin's question, they've comprehended our plan on both sides. And I know that sounds really simple. I think it's really hard in 2023 for a team to receive, hey, this is what we think is the best plan to win. And your name may be called more often than not, or your responsibilities may be different than they were the previous game. The oneness of our group has continued to improve over the last 12 games. I know we lost during that stretch, but even when we lost, the words that were being communicated in the timeouts, the words that were being said at halftime, I told them at halftime, I said, you guys are at Arkansas, you guys are really hard to coach. And they looked at me like, what do you mean? And I was like, yeah, you're really hard to coach because everything you're saying is exactly what you should say. So I don't have anything else to say because you guys know. And I think it's because they agree and understand the why, but then they know specific to Auburn the second time, hey, what changes are we making as a counter to what we anticipate Auburn is going to do based on our game against them and their 3 games since. I think that's the thing. When you play 10 out of 18 games that are mirrors, well, in essence, 5 of those games, that's your second time playing them, right? And so the details of that that you think as a coach give you a chance for your guys to receive that, understand that, and then the execution of those things come into play. it's really fun. And that's probably the wrong word to use in 2023 too, but the character of our players accept that their brains understand that, and that physically they work really hard to try to execute that. I think that that's a rarity, and I stand at attention and respect for their willingness to do that as a group. There's no whatever we're doing on either side of the ball. It's a ball screen coverage. It's whatever we're doing for Boots or somebody else. They're, coach, if that'll help us win, let's go. And that's why they're hard to coach. There's no disagreement. It's like, okay, we trust you, and as a staff, we trust you, and so it's really good.
Do you think it's helpful to have, you know, you talking earlier about Julius and Henry kind of playing in a somewhat similar role, to kind of have, I guess, pairs out there that, you know, Julius and Henry can go out, for example, and say, you know, combined between you two, we kind of need this sort of level of production, this type of production. For, I guess you can only do 2 pairs at a time on the court, but just to kind of have a tandem that, you know, have them feel it out instead of, you know, having one guy, you have to do this, and if you don't do your role, it brings down the whole team.
Well, I think everybody on the team, that's part of the reason why things have been so good in January. They've all been accepting of their individual roles. But if you talked about them in pairs, which is a good thing for me to think about, Henry and Ju are a pair. When Solo's been healthy, Andy and Solo are a pair. To me, Dexter and Boots are a pair. I think what H and Dre are doing is a pair. You know, Boots probably bleeds over a little bit with 4 when 4's not in the game, because Boots has to do a little bit of what 4 does when 4's not on the floor. There's really good symmetry because, in truth, they're aware of their individual role, and there's some probably minute differences, but in regards to what we're asking them relative to production or execution, I think it's the same. And so I think that's why there is, to her question, you know, hey, what are you going to do this game? Or what have you done over the last 4 games that's made you better? A lot of the message is the same relative to the forward group, relative to the guard group. And I think that I don't think that there's any confusion, right? And I don't think that we're the best team. And I don't think that we have the best talent. I don't think that we're the best coaches. But I think we're all accepting of that. And so we all know how hard we have to try. And we all know how important the details are. The details to us are not little. The details are like the biggest thing. And so sometimes those are stat-specific details, but most of the time in what we're doing thus far, they're the things that don't show up in the box score. And I think the collective purpose and the collective thought has been, there's been no confusion in that.
Any burning questions that need to be asked? Okay, roll it up.
Okay, thank you.